Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Journey Teachers. Today we have Naresh Rao sir with us. He is a faculty of Media Department in Christ University's Central Campus at Bangalore, and he also take interviews of various students applying for Christ University, particularly with the Media Department. So he's here to share some tips and his experiences of what is the evaluation criteria and how what does he wants to look at in the students. So this will be very insightful for sure. Thank you so much for coming here, sir, and sharing. Yeah, so let's begin with the very first question. As you take interviews of students for the media department, what do you look for in a student while answering the questions?
Okay, let me first tell you that the reason why we do an interview is that we get a good understanding of who the student is, what his background is or her background is, and then also to evaluate based on our questions, especially relating to their interest and their aptitude to undergo this particular program that they are applying for. So that is, I think, at the first, a very important consideration. Later, I mean, like for example, when the interview starts, the first thing is always the first impression, especially during online, was not just the person but also the background where the person is sitting. So what it means is that when someone is already aware that they have come for an interview for admission, they should be at least dressed formally. So formal dressing is important. That means for a boy wearing a shirt is very important. Obviously for girls. It could be traditional dress or whatever, but at least a formal wear is important. And then we also try to see whether the person has rehearsed or what we call as done some homework in order to be ready for the interview, or he or she has just applied and just come for the interview without much of seriousness about the whole process of interview.
Right, definitely. First of all, how do you exactly look and what do you wear if you are, abiding with the dress code and if you are presenting yourself very formally for the interview, that is the first impression that really matters. And accordingly, when the interview moves forward, what is your attitude if you are really serious about the interview and tracking the university, if you are full with your preparation, you have a certain way to answer the specific questions that is all, which are the observations which are quite not said directly, but these are observable factors which are there for sure. Okay, so the next question includes what and it is asked me most often as well. What's the importance of extracurriculars to ask questions on in an interview, and to what extent do the marks of boards and the scores of the entrance tests matter?
Okay, so one of the things that I think is very clear by now is that Christ University, whether it's Department of Media Studies or Department of English and Cultural Studies, or whichever department it is, uh, looks at the student in a holistic manner. That means marks is important, but it's not the only criterion on the basis of which we do the interview or select the student. Having said that, see, marks also reflect the kind of serious interest that the student has in academics, because he or she has applied for an academic kind of a admission. So we want to check not just the marks that he or she has got in the recent exam, but even the previous exam, so that there is consistency. uh, but like you said, I mean, we also look at what their other interests are, especially extracurriculars, which we include, like things which can have direct impact on their academics, or indirect impact. Like for example, direct impact could be if someone is applying for BA in journalism or BA in communication media, we would like them to have taken part in debates, elocution, MUNs, and things like that, so that we know that that person is someone who is going beyond just academics, and someone who has interests in other things which are closely related to communication and journalism kind of subjects. So that is something that we look at, and other things also like sports to poetry, or writing, to making the content nowadays, and posting it on social media. All of those things are also things that we take into consideration, because they all have a bearing on the person's ability, but also more on the person's wider interests, which are very useful when it comes to programs under our department.
Definitely. What have you done except for the regular course curriculum of your academics that is taken into consideration, and that is really helpful in knowing what your interest areas are? Okay. So, what are some of the most common questions that you ask during the interview?
Okay, so my questions mostly follow after I ask the student to introduce himself or herself. Okay, so once they introduce themselves, and depending on what they say during the introduction, I then choose some of the things that they have mentioned in order to question them, because there's no point in asking them something which they do not know. I need to like ask them things on the basis of what they have stated. So when they introduce themselves, they should always be very careful to put into that introduction things that they are interested in, things that they want out of this program, and what specifically they want to get out of this program, in the sense that how that will help them in their future career and jobs and things like that. So that will be the cue for us in questioning them about certain aspects. So for example, if someone says that they took, or they have applied for journalism because they love writing. So the next question would be, what kind of things have they written? Do they have a blog? Do they have any publications? Have they been part of school or college publications, etc.? So those are the things that we look at when we question them. So the questions usually follow the introduction that they give. So, and the following questions also will be linked to the answers that they give. So they have to be very careful as to what they say. They have to think,
Definitely.
and then tell us what they I mean, what they are interested in, what they have done, all those things. So they should not be, exaggerating. They should not be lying. They should be honest in what they have done and what they are planning to do in the future.
Definitely. So, if you guys are observing as well, the psychology of the interviewer works in this way as well. That what you are answering, the person will be asking questions based on that. So, make sure that you do not lie. So, my next question was following to that only, is asking counter questions or course related technical questions included in the evaluation criteria as well of selecting a particular student?
Yeah, I mean, see, if they have applied for, let's say, the present CEP program, which is communication media with psychology and English literature. So we would like to know, if, for example, they have studied any of these subjects in the 11th and 12th, but also we would like to know if they have not studied, then why have they, chosen this combination? Do they have any interest in one or more of these subjects? And if they have done something which shows us that it's not just interest, but also something that they have followed up on during the last maybe 1 or 2 years of their school. And that is something which is very important for us, because that shows us the seriousness. It's not like an accidental kind of a application that they have put, but they have been planning, and they have been doing certain things in order to be considered a serious candidate for this particular program.
Yeah. And how do you actually, differentiate between the candidates, because there are a lot of applications which come and the number of students getting selected are quite a few. So how do you differentiate between them? Who is whether he's selected or not?
Okay, so see, selection happens in a very elaborate manner. So one of the things that I can tell you is that, see, Christ University, and specifically our department, which is Department of Media Studies, we try to take students from different backgrounds. So it could be based upon regions. So we would want students not just from the usual states from which usually we get students, like for example Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, or Kerala, etc. But we also want students from, let's say, the northeastern states like Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, etc. So we give importance to some of the students who have applied from those regions. Doesn't mean that we favor them over the others, but we give them due consideration, because they will add to the kind of mix that is very important in a classroom, which gives the others an opportunity to grow with interacting with the students of varied backgrounds. So that is one of the important criterion. But other things are, we also evaluate them very subjectively, in the sense that we see what their traits are, what their plans are for the future, whether they have done something substantial. Substantial can be even small things, but substantial in the sense that it goes with what they have applied for. So all those things are taken into consideration when choosing the candidates, because we, for example, get something like 2000, 2500 applications for our BA CEP program. So we choose around 150, because we have two sections. So from that to this is less than 10%. So there is a tendency to see that we take the best candidates, and best candidate means the student has to be someone that we feel will fit into the departmental kind of culture, but also overall Christ University culture.
Definitely, and that's what makes Christ University unique, that it has a lot of diversity in terms of cultures and students coming from different parts, and not only from India but outside even as well. Okay, so to what extent do you expect the students to know about the course and the university?
Yeah, so one of the things that we also ask them is whether they have looked at the syllabus and curriculum, and looked at the courses that are there under the subjects that they have chosen. This is basically for two things. One is that they have uh, understood what this particular program is all about, what are the different courses that come under this program, whether they will be able to deal with those courses, whether they will be interested in those courses. All of those things are things that come out of the fact that they have actually looked at it and gone through the syllabus. So that is a very important thing that we expect the students to do, because we have an open policy where we put all the syllabus on the website, so that when admissions happen, they can go through the syllabus of different programs and evaluate them, and then come to the conclusion that this program is more suitable for them than the other program. So we ask them also, like for example, sometimes we ask the student why didn't they not consider some other combination? Why did they choose BA CEP or BA JP English instead of PS English or something? So because their interest is something that we try to align with the combinations.
Right, and that way we get to know as in what is the particular course structure, or what is that thing which differentiate that particular course which the student has applied for with the different courses, and what is that the student likes the most in that course. So That's really important. Okay, so how long should the answer to one question be, and how many questions in total get asked?
Yeah, so we do an interview for 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so 7 minutes is the maximum we are supposed to give to each candidate, because it is also to do with the huge number of applications. It's also to do with being fair to everyone, so that we don't give 2 minutes to one and 10 minutes to another. So to be on the fair side, we try to limit it to 7 minutes. So 7 minutes is a lot of time, but if the candidate is clear about their goals, clear about their intention to do a particular program for a particular reason. These things will be reflected in the answers, so their answers will be very very crisp, but also to the point, but will also have the adequate kind of let's say reasons why they have chosen this, or why they are trying to do this particular program, etc. So answer should be short, because what it also allows us is to ask more questions from the candidate.
Right, definitely. To the point answers will work. Okay. So, Transfer University includes micro presentation as well in an interview. So, what would be your tips based on that?
Okay, so micro presentation is basically to see whether the students are aware of current affairs. That means what is happening around the world, what are the different issues, or what are the important issues that students in particular should be, and citizens in general should be interested in. So we ask them to talk about a particular issue, and they're supposed to speak to us for at least 30 seconds. So they should be knowledgeable about it. They should also be able to put it into a manner which shows us that they have understood, and they have also understood the importance of that particular issue.
Yeah, so the topics included everything around current affairs could be asked, and you have to speak for 30 seconds. So just be, keep yourself well aware about what's happening around, and that will do the job. Okay, so what are some of the things that you would want the students to not do during the interviews? Maybe, lying about anything, or not taking care of their dressing sense, or using flowery language to impress you.
Yeah, so some of the times, what happens is the students obviously are nervous when they come for interview. Uh, they are very apprehensive. They are, I mean, they feel that intimidated because two teachers are in front of them. So these are all natural things. But I think one of the things that they have to prepare for is an interview where they will be asked questions. So it's maybe imperative that they go through this in a manner like a mock interview, so they can use the help of their friends, parents, or whatever, and then conduct a mock interview, so that you get more confidence when you actually come for the interview. Like you were mentioning, I mean, honesty is very, very important. You need to present your true picture in the interview, not something that is made up, or something that is exaggerated, or something that is untrue. So honesty is a very important aspect. Also, you have come for an interview. You need to see that your uh, your phone is switched off. You're dressed properly. You have all the documents that are necessary to let's say validate some of the claims that you're making. Like someone says, I have published a few articles in the college magazine or school magazine. I mean, college as in PUC. So then they should have that with them, either hard copy or at least soft copy of that, so that they can show if they are asked about that particular thing. So these are all things that they need to I think be and always carry a pen, because a lot of times students don't carry a pen. We also have this documentation that needs to be done, so when they come for an interview they also have to sign. But also the fact that they are prepared for an interview will be something that will be very clear from the way they dress, what they have with them, what is their maybe confidence level. All those things will be important in judging whether they um, are suitable for that particular program or not.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of interviewer are you? Like, what steps do you take to make the students feel less less nervous? And do you also pull out the CV along with, assessing a student as to what he has written along with in the application?
Yeah, so we get hold of the CV before we um, call the next candidate. So we go through the CV, and CV also gives us some points to quiz the student on. Uh, like you said, I mean, uh, see, we all know that students, most of them will be nervous, will be not not confident when they come in. So we allow them to sit down, and then we ask how they are, and make them comfortable, where they are from, and things like that, just to like give them more time in order to become little more comfortable. So and see, our questions are not aimed at trying to find out what they are not. It is basically to find out who they are, what they have done, what is their maybe dreams and things like that. So they should not feel it's not like a quiz where you are trying to quiz them about what they may not know. So it's all about what they already are aware of. They have lived through this. So that is something that they need to communicate to us in the interview.
Right, definitely. Whatever your raw self is and whatever you have done, whatever you feel like sharing with the university and the interviewers, you can go ahead and do that, and they would definitely, like to listen to your stories. And interviews are always exciting conversation. Just tell about yourself, what you are as a human, and what have you been doing. Why is the course interested? Why do you have your interest in that particular course? Just convey the idea and you will be good to go. So how are the offline and online interviews differ?
Yeah, I mean, see, we used to always have offline interviews till 2020. So 2020 was the first time, because of COVID and the pandemic and the restrictions, that we moved to online interviews. And we found that online interviews also were useful in picking the right candidates. So the last 2 years we have been doing mostly online interviews. But I think from this coming year, that is for the next academic year, we are going to be having offline interviews. So offline interviews, the biggest advantage is that you can see the person, because there's always this doubt about the real person. So when it comes to online, you see the person, but you don't know whether he's the real person or not. And there is always this interface which comes in between the interviewers and the interviewee. So that is something that may pose some kind of a challenge to the interviewer. Whereas offline is something where you can see the person, you can feel the person, in the sense that you can observe uh, what the person is like in real life.
Right, and a lot of things which are not observable, in front of a screen can be observed in the real surrounding when the person is himself coming in an offline environment to speak about himself and appear for the interview. So that is there. And lastly, what would be your overall tips for the new admissions and the aspiring students who are really wanting to get into Christ University, especially the media department? So, what would you like to say to them?
Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is to go through the website of Christ University, go through the entire details, the general details that is there. Where when did Christ University start? Where are the different campuses? What programs do they have in different campuses? And then come down to the department that they are going to be applying for, and go through the syllabus of the programs that they are interested in, evaluate it, compare it, and see whether they would be able to more or less comfortably deal with those subjects over the next 3 years, because it's not just a matter of one semester but 6 semesters that they have to go through these courses. So they have to be very, very serious about the decision that they have to make in choosing the right program. So once they do that, then obviously they have to uh, prepare for the interview, and the preparation should be very uh, serious kind of a preparation, because this is something which either can make or break uh, the fact that a lot of the students who apply have applied because they want to study in Christ University. So that is something that may not come through that particular dream if they are not seen to be serious. So seriousness comes from being prepared for the interview, and preparation for the interview can be done by watching YouTube videos, knowing more about the university by talking to some of the seniors or even alumni of the university, and specifically of the department what they are wanting to be part of.
Yeah,
They can
definitely.
always also come and meet the teachers, or and some of our emails and other details are given, so they can also mail us if they have any questions about the program, about the courses that come under that program, etc.
Definitely, Christ University is always open for the students to seek any kind of support and questions if you might have. You can actually visit the campus and take a tour of the campus. You can meet the existing students, the faculty. You can even reach out to the alumni. So you have to do your own research and prepare and practice well, and you will definitely be able to ace it for sure. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights. It was really wonderful to have you, and I'm sure that the audience must have got a lot of value about what does the interviewer thinks about taking a particular interview and then selecting the students. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.